Hi, everybody. I have a couple of true crime stories for you today. They're pretty quick. One is not an actual crime. This is a person who faked his own death. And the second one, you're not going to want to miss the second one. This couple, they were nudists and they were murdered. And that person that committed the murder is going to go to trial for it. And we'll cover it. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Crafting and Crime Daily. I'm your host, Rebecca, and I recap live trials. So you have something to listen to while you are crafting. So the first one, you may have heard about it. I mentioned it the other day when I was covering the verdict of the Delphi murder case. Ryan BOrgwardt, 45 years old. He goes missing. So we're going to talk about that. He lived in Watertown, Jefferson County, Wisconsin. On August 11th, he decides he's going to go fishing. Now, he's got a wife, 3 teenagers. I'm assuming they're not young children. I just saw a photo of him and 3 kids, but and they look like teenagers. I don't know how old his wife was. I don't know what he did for a living. None of that has really been publicized yet. So this happens on August 11th of 2024. He gets in his van, hitches the trailer to his van, puts his kayak on there, goes to a place called Green Lake. I'm going to show you a map of this thing. It's huge. It is the largest natural lake in Wisconsin. There's one lake that's larger, that's man-made, but this is the largest natural. It goes up to 237 feet at its deepest. So he goes out to this lake. He's kayaking. At 10:49 p.m. on August 11th, his wife gets a text message from him saying that he's headed back to shore. So she's looking for him to come home. The next day, when he's still not home, August 12th, they call the police and report him missing. So the police go out to Dodge Memorial Park, which is at the west end of Green Lake. And they find his van and they find the trailer. They go out onto the lake and they find the kayak has been capsized. Attached to the kayak is a life jacket. So they're like, oh, we got to find this guy. So they start searching and they find a water bottle that's believed to be his, a tackle box that's believed to be his, and another fisherman actually found a fishing rod that is supposedly his. So now they're thinking, okay, this guy must have drowned. So they bring out this company called Bruce's Legacy. And this is a really interesting company. It was founded by Keith Cormakin, in honor of his brother, who was a firefighter with Black River Falls. And in 1995, as a firefighter, he goes in to try to recover someone that has drowned, and he drowns. Awful. So his brother starts this in honor of his brother Bruce. So one of the things that he can do is use sonar, because the divers that went out, they could only go down about 100 feet. And this is a very, very deep lake. So they're sonaring the bottom of this lake for what would look like a body. They're not finding anything. They search for 54 days using drones, cadaver dogs on the shore. Obviously, you're not using them in the water. And they don't find anything. So after 54 days, they said, we're going to have to go a different route. And they run his name through their databases. And they get a hit up in Canada. Law enforcement in Canada ran his name on August 13th. Now, it has not been made public why they ran his name. We don't know if it was because he was crossing the border. We don't know. But so now this wife and 3 kids who for 2.5 months from August till October thinking daddy's dead are being told, maybe not. Maybe not. So the wife gives the police his laptop. And they find out that he had attempted to scrub the laptop. He put in a new hard drive and he erased all the browsers, cleared all the browsers. Well, let me tell you something. That's not going to work. They give that laptop to a digital forensic expert. We've seen those people take the stand. They can find a needle in a haystack. I'm telling you, if it's on that laptop, they will find it. And here's what they found. Evidence that he was making inquiries about moving funds to other countries, out of the country. Took out a new life insurance policy in the amount of $375,000. Now, I can't even wrap my brain around how he thought he was going to get a hold of that money, because the beneficiary must have been his wife, right? I don't know. In any case, they found an airline gift card. They also figured out he had a second passport. That's how he was able to leave the country. Because when they went to his home to get the laptop, I'm assuming, they asked for his passport. Do you have his passport? Oh, yeah. Let me go get it for you. The passport that he claims to have lost back in May, because he went to get a second passport. When he went to get the second passport, he told them, I lost my passport. This was back in May. He had a second passport. That his wife was able to go very quickly and find the first one. Oh, here it is. But he claimed he lost it so he could get a second one. So he had been planning this thing for several months. They also found evidence that he was speaking to a woman in Uzbekistan. Now, I looked up Uzbekistan. Apparently, this is a country where women are still subservient. There's a lot of countries out there like this. Most of them are Muslim. Their marriages are arranged. And a lot of these women, some of them are even married off as children. And to avoid this, they will go on the internet and try to find their own men. And apparently, if you're a foreigner and you end up in Uzbekistan, you are welcome. The people are they love foreigners. They'll greet you. There's no nightlife there, but you're welcome to come into their country. They don't mind. Interesting, huh? So, he has not been charged with any crime, but they want him for restitution. Yes. Because this company, Bruce Legacy, they could have been off helping other families find victims. Instead, they're spending all this time looking for this guy who has faked his own death in this Green Lake. It's crazy, huh? But if you're out there, Mr. Ryan BOrgwardt, you've got a wife and 3 kids who are crushed by what you did to them. Crushed. Anybody with information can call 1-800-GET-THEM, GETTHEM. That's a Crime Stoppers number. And yeah, interesting, huh? So the next story, it's funny. It's a murder, but it's kind of funny, I think. Anyway, this couple, Dan and Stephanie Warden. Is that their names? Oh my gosh. What? I looked all this stuff up except the dang and gum name. Hold on. I'll tell you the name. I just want to make sure that I gave you the right name. Menard. I don't know what I said. Dan and Stephanie Menard. Now, Dan's 79 years old. I didn't find out how old his wife was. I'm assuming probably right around the same age. They live in this little community called Olive Dell Ranch RV Park and Resort. It's in the foothills of the San Jacinto Mountains in California. And I'm sure it's just lovely. The wife loved to go on her golf cart every day and play bingo and poker up to at the clubhouse. At night, you could go up and do karaoke. The husband had a little bit of dementia, so he kind of stayed home, played around with his model trains, and played on his computer. But this was a nudist colony. So I'm picturing this morning as I'm ugly naked in the shower, well, blue boobs flopping around under my armpits. What? Is she playing poker naked? Witnesses say she never went anywhere without her cane or her cell phone. So now I'm picturing this naked woman with a cane, boobs flopping around. Not to mention, as you get older, things are happening with your body that you have no control over, like random farts. And you're nude, and I'm just, the whole thing's just blowing my mind. So they had a dispute with one of the neighbors, the husband, and this guy whose name is, I'm terrible with names, you guys. Did I write his name down? Michael Sparks. They called him Sparky. Sparky is 62 years old. He was the hot tub guy. He liked the hot tub. So he's like prancing around nude in the hot tub. Anyway, Sparky and Dan don't get along because of this tree, this big tree that shades both of their yards. Dan wanted to prune the tree, and apparently the trimmings were going into Sparky's yard, and they were just at each other's throat. Sparky had expressed to other neighbors that he hated them over a tree. The whole thing I just find absurd. They're living in a nudist colony. They're fighting in the nude over a tree. I'm like, what? Okay. Anyway, Dan and Stephanie were very religious also. So they would go to church every Sunday, a regular church. I'm sure they had to put some clothes on. And if they weren't going to go to church, they would tell somebody. They would call and say, we're not feeling well, we're not going. They don't show up at church. And so the neighbors are like, what's going on? They didn't go to church. So they go over and they find that Dan's vehicle is parked on the street and the key is in the ignition. So that prompts the neighbors to go into their home, knock on that. No answer. Nobody, doesn't appear to be anybody home. They go into the house. Air conditioning is on. Computer is on. Stephanie's purse is there. Her wallet's there. By her chair is her cell phone that people say she always never went anywhere with her cell phone. Her cane is there. All these things are there. The lights were on. And there was a fan on. So they call the cops. Cops come in and they start searching for this couple. And they use bloodhounds, helicopters, drones. They're riding around on horseback, handing out leaflets. They're not finding this couple. But on August 29th, they get a call from Sparky's family member. One of Sparky's family members calls and says, hey, Sparky told me he killed 2 people and he's going to commit suicide. So they go out to Sparky's house in the nudist colony. He won't answer the door. After several attempts, they decide to bring in a vehicle with a battering ram because someone mentioned that Sparky might have booby-trapped the wall of his house. So I'm going to show you a picture of the damage that was done to this property. It's insane. They go out to his house and just take the battering ram and knock the wall down. He's not there, but they discover that he has built a cellar underneath his home, and he's hiding in this cellar, a concrete bunker. What? He had tried to kill himself, but the rifle misfired. So he was been taken into custody. And then they discovered that the sewer lines were blocked. And so they brought in, I guess they can take pictures of the sewer, and there were large bags in the sewer and believed to be bodies and recovered, and it ended up being the bodies of Dan and Stephanie. And I forgot to mention the most important part. They had this little Shih Tzu dog named Cuddles. Cuddles. Never found Cuddles. Never found Cuddles. But the medical examiner came in and said that the couple had died of blunt force trauma to the head. So this guy has been taken into custody, has been charged with the murders of these two elderly people. I will follow this. It has a lot of humor to it because it's not a baby case. I will tell you that. But all because of the pruning of a tree. Yeah, I'm just saying. So that's a quick show today. But I wanted to bring you some content, humorous as it may be, sort of. I know I'm a sick individual. Anyway. I mean, I could do the Nudist Colony thing, right? No. All right. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.